Hey folks, thought I'd try to add one to the Acid Archives today. Um, Doing a little, kind of running around a little bit, doing a few different things. Was at the poolside for a while and with family and that. And I came home, was doing a little reading. Got to pick this book up yesterday. It's the story of Harry Smith. He did the American folk anthology. Really interesting life, really important figure in chronicling music, American music, and lived a really, truly interesting life. But yeah, I wanted to do Acid Archives today. I was thinking about who to do, and there is a band that I had kind of targeted to take a look at, and that was Third Power. I don't know how many folks are familiar with this great little psychedelic hard rock band. Really kind of interesting sound. Anyway, they're from Detroit, Michigan area. This album came out in 1970, believe, and got some local airplay in this area at the time, but didn't do any real work. Apparently, the band had put out a couple of singles before this, which can be heard on the CD edition of this album when it came out, and they got signed by Vanguard, which was a label primarily known for folk music. And at the time, the label was thinking of branching out a little bit into other areas. Thought, this new psychedelic sound it's coming out, and tried to grab onto that. What I think is interesting about Third Power is they really get kind of identified as a psych band, and they certainly had that as a component of their sound. But I think that the music rocks a little bit harder, and they came from the same scene as did the MC5 came from, and you can hear that those hard rock or punky riffs in the music more than you would hear when you normally think of psychedelic music. And so I thought it made them a little bit different and a little bit unique in that way. This is a pretty good little record. I think a lot of people overlook it. It's maybe not tier A psychedelia. I'm not that big of a psychedelic music fan. There's some really good stuff, but some of it I can live without. But I like this because it's very organic sounding, very real sounding, and there's some real diversity in the music. There's some hard rock tracks or harder rock tracks, and then they're mixed in there. There's a lot of folk elements, and you can hear a lot of different things kind of coming together. But when the band wanted to rock out, they really could, and you could tell that they were used to taking the stage after the MC5 would come on, or maybe before the MC5 came on, and they really used their guitar sound to penetrate, and that they were used to being able to do that, which I think gave them a little bit of a leg up on a lot of bands that maybe from this era, and made this a little bit of a unique artifact in that way. 1970 came out, didn't do anything, didn't sell, and Vanguard immediately dropped them. They never, actually I shouldn't say they never went on to do anything. Drew Abbott, who was the guitar player in this band, went on to join Bob Seger's the Silver Bullet Band, which was the last part of his kind of career, probably my least favorite part of the career, but it was also the most commercially successful part of that period. I want to say he was a member of the Silver Bullet Band from like 74 to in the 80s, somewhere in the early to mid 80s, he was a member of that band, which is really, when you think about it, that's when Bob really was kind of, peaking in a lot of ways. So, and so pretty interesting career there. Great vocals. It has a vaguely reminiscent of Jack Bruce, I would say. And there is a little bit of Cream. I actually prefer the guitar sound. Cream was a pretty interesting band, so I don't want to be too critical, but the guitar sound on on this is a little different than Cream. It's a little less psychedelic sounding and a little bit more hard rock sounding, which I feel like it gives it more of an organic sound. Anyway, if you're not familiar with this, it is part of the Acid Archives, and somebody's already done this one. Sorry to step on your thing. Didn't mean to do that, but an interesting little album. I noticed that in the last couple years, the prices on this have started to increase. And people, I think, are discovering this little Detroit gem that passed under the radar for a lot of years, but that did make some impact locally here, but never really achieved what they should have. There's some songs on here that are as good as anything from that era. So yeah, check it out. Third Power on Vanguard, and there's 2 singles that came out before it that you can check out on the CD copy of it if you can find that. Anyway, thanks, and hope everyone has a good 4th, and we'll see you later.